Well, hello students. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Welcome to another episode of Parlay with Jay, where I have the opportunity to help you with your English comprehension, vocabulary, and your English fluency. And most of you know I primarily do that through the reading of stories. And so today I have a C-2 story that I'm going to read. And I'm going to highlight some of the key vocabulary words and phrases in today's story. So I hope you're ready for a little bit of learning and laughter as we prepare to dive into today's story. And let me say before we get started, I hope you enjoy the audio-only format. I want to challenge you to strengthen your English listening skills, as well as shadowing me as you read without seeing my mouth move. So I hope you enjoy this challenge. Let me know down in the comments section if you enjoy this format, and I will be sure to add more lessons that are in the audio only format. So with that being said, let's dive into today's story. Jacob had been working at the warehouse for 6 months, and every shift felt longer than the last. That Friday, he had just finished a brutal 10-hour shift filled with heavy lifting and non-stop task. Exhausted, he dragged himself to his car in the dimly lit parking lot. Let's pause right there. Notice that Jacob worked 10 brutal hours. Brutal is a word that describes something that is tough or hard to deal with. You may say walking 10 miles is brutal on my feet, or walking 10 miles is brutal on my knees. So it's something that is tough or difficult to deal with. Exhausted, he dragged himself to his car in the dimly lit parking lot. Now, when someone is exhausted, they are extremely tired. I mean, they are ready to go to sleep. He dragged himself. So he was not walking fast. He was walking quite slowly. As we continue, it says, all he wanted was to get home, take a shower, and collapse into the bed. So to collapse means to fall. He wanted to simply just get in the bed and go to sleep. Of course, when we use the word collapse, sometimes it describes someone that faints or loses consciousness and they fall directly on the ground. But you can use collapse to actually describe a person that is really, really tired. Okay, so I'm going to collapse onto the bed, you might say. Sliding into the driver's seat, Jacob inserted the key into the ignition and turned it on. So the ignition, the part of a car where the engine is started. I can remember years ago when you needed a key, a physical key to turn and start the engine of the car. Now you can use an app or press a button. Technology has advanced so much over the years, and it has made the lifestyle of people to be more convenient. I prefer using a natural key. I guess you could call me old school. I prefer doing things that are known to be from the origin of something. So we always use the key for a car. I'm old school. I don't prefer using an app or my phone or pressing a button. Let's continue about Jacob. Nothing happened, not even a click. Confused, he tried again. Still nothing. That's when it hit him. His car battery was dead. He groaned and leaned his head on the steering wheel, feeling defeated. Oh, I know that feeling when you get in the car and you have to be somewhere and the battery is dead. It's happened in my car. It's happened on my lawnmower. It's happened with my television remote. It's happened with my computer. The battery dies. But notice Jacob felt defeated. Defeated. We usually use defeated when we talk about a sporting event. One team defeated or beat the other. But when a person feels defeated, they're feeling like they've lost or failed. Jacob was probably depressed because remember, he had just finished working 10 long hours on his job. Jacob grabbed his phone and searched for solutions. He probably went to what we call YouTube University, trying to figure out what was wrong with his car and could he find the answer on YouTube or Google. His battery had been acting up for weeks, but he had ignored the warning signs, okay? The warning signs. So he had ignored his vehicle telling him it was something wrong. That's what a warning sign is. It alerts you to impending danger. The warning signs. So when you drive, you see warning signs letting you know that there's a curve in the road. There's a bump in the road. I passed over a small pothole and there was no warning sign today. But because I knew there was a pothole, I moved over and went around it. But warning signs are good because they let you know that danger is on the horizon. I love seeing deer, but when I'm driving, I don't want to see deer because they can leap or run out into the highway. And so when I see deer signs warning me that deer can come into the highway, I become more alert. Let's continue. Now, it was clear he had no choice but to deal with the problem. He scrolled through his contacts and called his coworker, Maria, who was still in the building. Maria arrived with jumper cables and a cheerful attitude. "You look like you've had a grueling day," she said, laughing as she popped her car's hood. "You look like you've had a grueling day, a tough day, a tiring day, a demanding day, grueling, okay? Somewhat synonymous to brutal, okay? Oh, you might say, this heat is so grueling. It's burning my skin. Grueling." Jacob nodded. "You have no idea." As Maria connected the cables, Jacob felt a spark of hope. But when he turned the key again, the engine still wouldn't start. Frustrated, or frustration bubbled up, but Maria remained calm. Frustration bubbled up. He was getting angry. It could be the corroded battery terminals, she said. Corroded battery terminals. Corroded. Corroded means something that is damaged by a chemical reaction or maybe rust. If you noticed on the terminals on a battery, over time, acid will form, and if you don't clean it off, the battery can go bad. It could be the corroded battery terminals, she said, pointing to the greenish buildup. Maria helped clean the terminals with a spare toothbrush from her glove box, muttering, "Don't ask why I keep this." Finally, the car roared to life. So she cleaned the battery terminals. Okay, so a terminal. We use terminal when we're at the airport. You may say you need to go to Terminal A to catch your flight, or Terminal B to meet your friend who is arriving. But a terminal on a battery is a connection point. Okay? Terminal, a connection point. Finally, the car roared to life. Jacob couldn't believe it. He thanked Maria profusely, or continually. Profusely means to do something with excitement or to constantly do something. Feeling a mix of relief and gratitude. As he drove home, Jacob promised himself he'd replace the battery the next day. Despite the rough ending to his shift, he realized how fortunate he was to have a co-worker like Maria. Sometimes even the worst days can show you the resilience you didn't know you had. So he was cheerful or grateful. He was optimistic or happy that things worked out. And he found out that he had resilience, okay? The ability to recover from difficult situations and circumstances. Every day we'll have challenges. Lord knows I had some challenges this week. My garage door broke. I lost some money in some other areas of my household, okay? My wife's car is in the shop. It was just so many different things that happened, but it's important to persevere or demonstrate resilience and keep pushing forward despite what you go through. Sometimes, like Jacob, we have things that happen that are unexpected, but we shouldn't pout. We shouldn't give up. We should fight through it, learn a lesson, and keep moving forward. So we've talked about several different words in today's story: exhausted, ignition, defeated, grueling, brutal, corroded, terminals, frustration, and finally, resilience. I hope you have enjoyed today's quick English lesson here on my Parlay with Jay channel. Now, if you want longer English lessons, be sure to visit my main channel. The link is down in the description. Well, once again, I hope you have enjoyed today's lesson. As always, I hope you join me on my next English lesson.